Be happy. Be healthy. Be your best. Be your best.
Okay. Beep, beep,
Be happy.
beep, beep, beep. Oh dear. What am I describing? Somebody's sitting in a hospital looking at the heartbeats of their heart and watching it closely, anxiously, because they're wondering why they've been having some of the symptoms they've been having. And those symptoms may just be that they're under some stress, may just be that they're dehydrated, maybe some other things that are just not really significant of a major event in their heart. Still, they're listening and listening carefully. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with the heart. You can have coronary heart disease. You can have heart failure. You can have arrhythmias. You can have heart valve problems. You can have congenital heart disease. It can be a stroke. You can have peripheral artery disease, high blood pressure. How many of us have heard or have friends that are on medication for high blood pressure, or even aortic disease? A lot of things. And that's just to list some of them. In the news in the last few years since COVID, we've had a lot more reports of people dying from heart problems, and it really has become a public concern. So what would be some of the risk factors? Well, think of it. One of them's age. As you get older, the risk of having a problem, either a stroke or a heart attack, just comes more often to mind because with age, there is more risk. How about family history? How many people do you know that they just say, oh, yeah, I had to go the other day to have my heart checked, and I'm just worried because Uncle Fred had a heart attack, and my grandma, she had high blood pressure, and, I just want to make sure that the old ticker is working okay, right? So people have anxiety about it. And part of it is because heart attack and stroke can seem to just come from out of the blue. And yet, really, there's a lot of things ahead of time that people can do to mitigate and reduce that risk factor, even if they have a family history. How about lifestyle? Okay. Lifestyle, there are certain things that are just mandatory in order to have heart health. And that is, do you have an unhealthy diet? Do you have lack of physical exercise? Are you smoking? Okay. Do you consume alcohol? Yeah, a little bit more than in moderation, a little too much, a little too regularly. Are you starting to depend upon alcohol? This can be something that can lend itself to being more at risk for heart problems. The other thing that there can be is diabetes. Diabetes, obesity, even kidney dysfunction can lend itself towards having different heart problems and increased risk. So what's a person to do? How are they going to offset some of these problems that we see? Well, one of them is through proper supplementation, making sure that the heart gets good supplementation, good quality, preferably physician strength supplementation. There's a company that we work with called Nutri Dyn, and they have 3 products that are absolutely physician strength excellent for the brain, the heart, and the gut. And those 3 work so closely together that it's really worth considering getting them from this company. One of them is called Nutri Dyn Omega Complete, where they have their own private fishing company to make sure that their product does not have any rancidity. Another one is Nutri Dyn Liposomal Curcumin. It's a fat-coated, very quickly absorbed curcumin that works really, really well with heart health and brain health. And then the last one is Nutri Dyn Ubiquinol CoQ10. It's known to help prevent heart attacks, to help keep healthy heart tissue. So those 3, Omega Complete, Liposomal Curcumin, and CoQ10 Ubiquinol, are invaluable when it comes to keeping heart health, but also brain health and gut health, and having them work together synergistically. The other thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is just having healthy eating habits. One of the things that really can contribute towards heart problems is seed oils. Seed oils really have a questionable beginning, and they are rapidly becoming one of the things that are known to cause a lot of problems. And one of them is with the heart. Another one is with the arteries. They just are not good for the body. And the things that were given a bad rap, like good grass-fed butter and good olive oil and coconut oil and ghee and avocado oil, those type of things are turning out to be something that actually is very good for heart health, good for body health in general. And then how about exercise? Okay. We live in such a fast-paced world that a lot of people just have a hard time even finding time to do exercise at all. But the scientific research shows that even just going for a brisk walk every day, starting with 10 minutes a day, a brisk walk can do so much to help with starting to offset the possibility of heart issues. One, it gets more oxygen into the body. Two, it helps with weight control. You know, a lot of us, I know myself, I'd like to lose a few extra pounds. All of these things really have a big impact on what our heart health is. And then smoking just all around is just not good for the body, period. And it definitely is a major contributor to not only heart problems, but it can also be associated with stroke issues. And then alcohol in moderation. Some people choose not to drink at all, but if people are drinking, alcohol in moderation is something that would really be considered because it can have a major impact on heart health as well. And then stress management. Stress management is so important these days because, like I said, we're in such a fast-paced world and everybody's stress levels are through the roof. Now, when people's stress levels are through the roof, their adrenals are constantly in fight or flight. They end up with elevated cortisol. They're having problems with blood pressure, even just from what we talked about earlier with emotions. And so having stress management is really, really important. So what are some of the things that help with stress management? Well, there's meditation. There's deep breathing. There's the brisk walks that we just talked about. Making sure that you have enough trace minerals. Trace minerals help all 9 body systems work better. So using trace minerals and making sure that you have enough is something that can really, really help the body from a stress standpoint, even just from a nutrient standpoint. When you calm the adrenals down, you calm down the fight or flight response. Fight or flight response is really only meant to be that you have an emergency situation. And in that emergency situation, you have an elevation of adrenaline in the body. It's the mother that goes and picks up the 3,000-pound car off of her child. But it's meant to happen and then rapidly reduce back to a calm state that allows the body to go back to normal and not have the extra stress on the heart. Whereas people nowadays, they're staying in fight or flight 24/7. What does that impact? It even impacts their sleep. And then that in turn impacts the heart. So literally, you have your heart in your hands. You have your heart in your hands in that it's the choices that you make every day. It's the water you drink. It's the food you eat. It's the exercise you do that actually is going to have an impact on that heart health. So I hope some of these suggestions will help. We'll go more in depth later on into some other factors with the cardiovascular system and with strokes in the body, and look forward to you in a future session.